Okay, today we're going to do a review of integers, basic integer operations of adding and subtracting. Before we get to that, we're going to just do a quick review of order of operations from yesterday. So take a look at these. Remember, you want to look for brackets first, then exponents, division, multiplication, adding and subtracting. So this one here, we've got brackets and we've got multiplying in there. So 4 plus 3 times 9. Then we need to do the multiplication. 4 plus 27, that gives you 31. So that those two terms, this one and this one, end up getting simpler until you finally add or subtract. Could be multiple terms, but this is just two. A lot of these. This next one is 3. So we've got an exponent, adding, subtracting, dividing. So exponent first. So I copy everything else out the same, saying that this is a term, this is a term, and this is a term. So if you wanted to do this dividing at the same time, you totally can. Okay. And then we do adding, subtracting in order from left to right. So 4 plus 9 is 13, minus 3 is 10. Okay, next one, big brackets, copy whatever's outside out. Then within the inside expression, we have smaller brackets. We've got to do those first. Do not add the 2 and 4. Got to do the inside brackets. Then again, do not add 2 and 4. We've got to multiply first. So that's 2 plus 16, which is 18. And then we do that multiplication. So what's that? 30 and 24 is 54. Try to do these without your calculator. Okay. All right. Now we'll look at integers. So again, this is a review. You've been talking about integers for a few years now. Just a reminder, I've got a number line up here from -8 to +8. It can go on to infinity. Negatives are always on the left, positives always on the right. If you're thinking vertically, then positives are always up and negatives are always down, kind of like a thermometer. It's also like the XY axis. So if I were to quickly do an XY axis, remember this is positive for X, this is positive for Y, this is negative for X, and negative for Y. All right, so we can graphically represent a set of integers as shown below. We can also use this graph to assist us in determining whether one integer is larger than another, and also in adding and subtracting. So indicate whether each would result in a positive or negative value. So spending $15, that would be result in a negative, right? You no longer have it. So that's a negative. B, climbing a mountain. So if you compare that to height above sea level, that would be a positive value. Falling off a ladder. Your height is decreasing, so it's getting lower, so I would say that's a negative. Going from the 3rd floor to the 9th floor, you're going up, so I'd say that that was a positive. Write an integer to represent each of the following. So losing $10, well, that's the opposite of spending. Or no, sorry, it's kind of similar to spending, except you don't get anything for it. So losing would be like -10. So I'm not going to include the units because it just says write an integer that represents. Finding a $100 bill would be positive, and for positive we don't show a plus, okay, unless it's within an expression. Maybe you'll see a positive, adding a positive or subtracting a positive, but otherwise that's understood to be positive. Profit is a positive, making money. And drop in temperature would be a negative. Okay. Circle the highest number in each. Well, certainly if there's one positive and one negative, that's a no-brainer, right? If they're both negatives, then you have to think about which one on the number line. Sometimes students look at the digits. It's not the digits. You want to look at the rightmost value. For example, here, 4 is bigger than 1. because it's to the right of it. So if we're comparing -2 and -4, -2 is to the right of -4, so it is the highest number. Also you could think about money. If you're in debt $4, or you're in debt or you're in debt $2, it's better to be in debt only $2. Okay, you don't have quite as much to pay back. All right, and then -3 and -5. So that would be here and here. Again, -3 is to the right of -5, so it is larger. Then rearrange from smallest to largest. So I've got two negatives. So smallest would be to the left on the number line. That is, on our number line, the lowest value. Okay, it goes further, but that's the lowest on our number line. So that's what we'll start with. And then -3. And then your positives in order. Okay, here we've got two positives, two negatives. Again, -8 is the smallest, then -6, then 6, then 8. When you look at your number line, you're going right for each of those values. Okay, next, adding and subtracting. So same number line, and this is what you want to think about. Students get mixed up a lot of times. So if you're adding a positive, okay, here's an example, 3 plus +7. If you're adding a positive, that single operation is adding. You're moving right on your number line. So 3 plus 7 would get you to +10. Kind of ran out of space. Adding a negative, so what do? You move left. So here's an example, 3 plus -7. You're adding a negative. The single operation that represents that is subtracting. So you're moving left on the number line. 3 to the left 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is -4. Subtracting a positive, same deal. It's the opposite basically for each part, but it has the same result. So if you're subtracting a positive, that single operation is subtracting, and you move 7 to the left. So -4, and then subtracting a negative, the single operation that replaces that is adding, and you move to the right 7. So that's why these two are the same and these two are the same. Sometimes I think about it, my analogy is if you think about a negative being sick, getting sick, then if you are adding an illness, then you're going to get sick. If you're getting rid of being healthy, then you're going to get sick. So you're moving left on the number lines. Okay, so then let's evaluate. Number 1, so here when you're adding a negative, you're going left. So 5 to the left 7. If you take a look at the number line, 5 to the left 7, I'll maybe erase what I had here. So 5 to the left 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you end up at -2. Okay. Different from this, 5 subtracting a negative is like adding, you're moving right on the number line, so that's going to give you 12. Okay, 2 subtracting a positive is subtracting, so you're moving left on the number line, 2 to the left 6. So here, 2 to the left 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, ends up at -4. Oops, sorry. And then 2 adding a positive is just like adding. 2 plus 6 is 8. -4 adding a positive is going to the right on the number line, but you're starting at a negative. So -4, I'll use red here. So -4, and we're going to the right 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you end up at 5. Okay. Now, saying that, if you If you know that that's just adding, so negative 4 plus 9, then you really in your head you can go 9 minus 4 is 5. Okay. And then here, subtracting a negative is like adding, so now you're starting at negative 4, but you're going to the right 7. So same deal as the last one, but you'll end up at 3. Now here you're adding a negative, so you're going left. You're at negative 7. 2 more to the left is negative 9. Okay, now you're at negative 7 and you're subtracting a positive, still going left. So these are the same. End up at negative 9. Same action. It doesn't matter if you're adding a negative or subtracting a positive. Same thing happens. Now 3 terms here. So that's going to be subtracting. This is going to be adding. So this is going to your left, going to your right. So 3 to the left, 8 is negative 5. To the right, 2 is negative 3. Okay. Next one. Here, this is like subtracting, going left. This is like going right. So 4 to the left, 10 is negative 6. Plus 2 is negative 4. Again, no calculators for this. I want you not to be using a calculator. You got to know how to do this at the top of your head, especially when you get to Math 10C. Okay, so on the right, these just have one operation in between, which is more common. This is sort of what we did. Question 1 is what you did when you first learned integers. Now this is more common. So going from left to right when you read it. So 2 plus 3, so that means you're adding, that'll be 5, and minus 10. So 5 minus 10 brings you on the number line down to negative 5. 3 plus 6 is 9, minus 11 gets you back over the other side of 0, so that's going to be negative 2. 4 minus 10 is negative 6, plus 2 is negative 4. 5 minus 8 is negative 3, plus 1 is negative 2. Now, when you have these, more than one term, if you want, you could collect the positive terms. So I could look at 5 plus 1 is 6, and then subtract 8. Okay, back up here, those were positive anyway. Here, 4 is positive and 2 is positive, so I could go 6 minus 10 is negative 4. Okay, but don't do that with the negatives. You tend to make mistakes when you do that. So here I've got negative 3 plus 8 is 5, minus 2 is 3. Okay, so as I said, you could do the 8 first, collect the positives, there's just one, and then I would still do the subtracting separately. 8 minus 3 is 5, minus 2 is 3, just so you don't mess up the negatives. And then negative 6 plus 10 is positive 4, minus 4 is 0. Or again, 10 minus 6 is 4, minus 4 is 0. Here in order, 4 minus 4 is 0, plus 6 is 6. Oops, that was an easy one. Negative 3 plus 2 is negative 1. Minus 4 is negative 5. Okay, and if you need to think about it in terms of money, you're in debt $3, someone gives you 2, so now you're only in debt $1, but then you have to borrow more money, so you're in debt $4 more. So in total, $5 in debt. Okay, or you can think about it in temperature. It was negative 3 in the morning, it went up 2 degrees, so it was at negative 1, then it went down 4 degrees, so it was at negative 5. Money and temperature are common applications. Okay, 8 minus 12 is negative 4, plus 1 is negative 3. Negative 4 plus 10 is 6, minus 7 is negative 1. Okay, and that's it.